already identified as being a fighting faith. Maybe Jesus wants to expose her fighting faith and demonstrate that a fighting faith can overcome what appears to be the most impossible. In her case, gender, ethnic background, and the condition of her daughter were all odds against her. And maybe Jesus wanted to display that the fighting faith this woman embodies hopes against hope, denies denial, and rejects rejection. So Jesus staged a hopeless situation, a denial, and rejected her, and seems to insult her, to set up an encounter to expose her fighting faith. Sometimes I pause, and I'm almost finished. Sometimes I pause and wonder if God stages frustrating God moments. Strange, or what happens to be rejection, or what appears to be rejection in our lives. Situation perhaps that cause others to question God, to question us, or to question both God and us. Maybe sometimes such situation cause even us to question God or question ourselves. I suggest that perhaps certain situations are divine setups, ultimately for divine exposure of good that God sees in us and of glory that God desires to spring forth from within us. For the Gentile woman in the text, Jesus saw a striking and compelling faith. Jesus was touched by the faith he identified in this woman and staged an intense encounter to unveil her fighting faith. As a result, the Gentile woman's fighting faith is monumental in the pages of biblical history and stands today as a footprint in the sand of time for other believers to follow. When Jesus rejected, this woman responded. The response of this woman demonstrated the faith that Jesus identified. This woman is Greek, a Gentile, a Syrophoenician, but yet Jesus was touched by the fact that this woman's faith fought to conquer ethnic, religious, and gender barriers. What does this woman show us about a fighting faith? What does this woman show us about a fighting faith? First, I suggest this woman shows that fighting faith is an attitude of humility and not an attitude of entitlement. I'll say that again. First, she shows us that a fighting faith is an attitude of humility and not an attitude of entitlement. In verse 22, the scripture says she asked for mercy. In verse 25, the text states she worshiped. She asked for mercy, she worshiped. She exemplified, she demonstrated humility and not entitlement. Sometimes I wonder if we too often have and express attitudes of entitlement. Attitudes of entitlement and pitch it as faith. I wonder sometimes, have we become too removed from the concept